Financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, if how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your product and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to Financial Focus University. My name is Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO. I teach at Herbert H. Lehman College and at Monroe College here in the Bronx. I teach personal finance and business instruction. But I'm with you here today at Financial Focus University for the next half hour to talk about three very important topics. Topic one, we're going to be talking about our traditional Bidenomics segment. Our Bidenomics segment generally covers the week of financial news and market information. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you might have heard that Apple went down in earnings. I'm sure you might have heard Amazon went down in earnings. Guess what? They gained 8% on average the next day. What the hell is going on? I hope to tell you in a minute. Our second topic will have to do with our continuing series on income tax planning. This week, we'll be covering retirement income tax planning, a very important area where you can both lower your tax liability while maximizing, in this particular area, your retirement savings. So grab a pen when we talk about the personal finance segment. Our third and final segment will be the professor's opinion, which I guess will be mine. And it will have to do very specifically with the Joe Biden Inflation Protection Plan. As you might have heard this week, ladies and gentlemen, President of the United States, coupled with some members of Congress, supposedly has an inflation protection plan. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the $5 coffee shop that I used to go to get my hamburger, French fries, and soda, which really wasn't so long ago, maybe a year or two ago, is now $9. So we're going to talk about his inflation plan in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining Financial Focus University. Please click the subscribe button when we get done because we want to continue financial education for you. But let's talk about the economic indicators of the week. Let's talk about Bidenomics. And ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the market informational news for the week. There was a lot of it, as you can see. In the first area, if you're not aware, in the third quarter of this year, 47% of U.S. companies have posted their earnings, public companies. you should know most of them have been down. And that was reported this week. The Federal Reserve Board, as you may or may not know, has hiked interest rates 75 basis points, right? That's another concerning market indicator. Gross domestic product, GDP, our national economy. Well, as you see, it was reported in the first quarter, it went down a negative 1.6%. You'll see in the second quarter, ladies and gentlemen, that was just reported, it also went down 0.9%. Now, you might have heard this week that all of a sudden there's this definition as to what a recession means. Is it 2 consecutive quarters in a row? Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I graduated with my bachelor's and master's in economics in the late 1980s. And that's what they taught us. And I believe that's what they taught many people before me and many people after me. So all of a sudden they want to change the definition? Okay. So what was also came out this week? The Joe Biden Inflation Protection Plan, right? We're going to talk about that a little bit more detail. Consumer income. Consumer personal income came out for the week. Ladies and gentlemen, on an annualized basis, we have 7.2% income. That's a great number. That's a great number. It's a shame that I'm my own boss because I need a raise. You guys are doing pretty good. Not really, because if you look at the personal spending, the spending is up on an annualized basis 13%. Are you overspending? Well, yes and no, because look at the last one. The last item that came out was the annual rate of inflation. Inflation is now at 12%. So if your income is up 7, inflation is 12, you get a negative 5. Should I finally tell you that that's not on this report, is that credit card companies have come out this week and have reported large scales of accumulation of debt. So maybe this is where the extra spending is coming from. So put all this together, right? All this craziness together, the hype, the substance, what does it all mean? Let's go to the next slide. Because on a day-by-day basis for the week, ladies and gentlemen, it was a crazy week. On Monday, the market was absolutely flat. It was 0. And then on Tuesday, it went down. It went down 1.3%. And of course, we all started to get nervous again. But as you can see, for the rest of the week, we had a tremendous rest of the week. On Wednesday, the market went up 2.6%. Thursday, it went up again, 1.1%. Friday, it went up 1.4%. Now, I just told you all this wonderful economic data. This is the results of that data. Put it all together. What does it mean? Let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about how the market looked for the week. The market was up for the week, 3.8%. Hello. Don't jump out the window for joy. I almost did. That's a great week for the stock market. Let's look at the bond market. Let's look at the 2-year and 10-year treasury. Well, interest rates did not go up as the Fed wanted. They went down. Last week it was at 2.99. Now it is at 2.81. And you can see with the 10-year treasury, it went from 2.77 to 2.67. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, in one way that's good, right? The lines are following each other. However, they should be going up, not down. So that's another concerning thing for me anyway, in regards to the economy. And if you look very closely at this week's rates, just like last week, if you look at the 2-year and the 10-year, isn't that a little bit inverted, right? That's what that word means. That if I could get more interest on a 2-year account versus a 10-year account, right? In a healthy economy, I'm supposed to be getting more as I give you more of my money to hold, right? I'm supposed to get more interest. That's not happening at the moment. So the stock market from the beginning of the year to today, 28 weeks. How are we doing? We're still down, ladies and gentlemen. We're down negative 10.3%. And then we have, ladies and gentlemen, our wonderful Bob Press Gloom and Doom Index, which I'm sure, hopefully, he's going to take all this extra savings he's got going on and take me to dinner, because he made money too. As you can see, he's still down on a negative over the course of the last 19 weeks at 3.7%. Good for Bob. Well, let's look at that, ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit more closely, right? What that really means is this, right? Look at the 19-week indicator. Look at the 28-week indicator, right? That means that the first 2 months of the year, January and February, that's where we got close to 75% of our losses. Since March, when Bob said, I'm all in, well, the market is still down, but it's, it's starting to go down a little bit lighter than it was in the early part of the year. Is that a good sign? Is that a sign of a recession? Is that a sign of good economic growth? Ladies and gentlemen, Bidenomics this week, to me, means one thing. And we'll be back in a moment.
America Open Market, AO Market. The best digital market for humanity is a free, multilingual, borderless market open to international sellers with various languages included. With America Open Market, you may start selling in minutes after filling out the form. Comprehensive dashboard where you understand your sales, orders, and customers is available. You get paid directly, securely, and instantly on the America Open Market. You can sell your house, car, electronic laptop, CD player, boombox, phone, headphones, furniture, and clothing, and anything on AmericaOpenMarket.com where all your sales and customer needs are met. Register as a merchant today. You will not regret becoming a vendor at America Open Market. For further inquiries, contact us at aomarket@gmail.com. AO Market, best digital marketplace for humanity.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in our second segment, which is our personal finance segment, as you just heard, we covered our financial news and market information. Well, now this segment is all about personal finance. And this segment is really all about you. And this segment has to do with how to master retirement income tax planning. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember, this is a continuing series, right? So we're covering between now and the next couple of weeks different variations of what we call income tax planning. But when we go to the next slide, we're going to do a little bit of review. When we go to our first slide, we'll remember that tax planning, very simply, is analyzing your financial situation so you can minimize your income tax liability. Why is that important? Because the lower you get your tax liability, the higher your refund gets. Please go to the next slide. So what are we looking for when we talk about income tax planning? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been following our series, we look for 3 areas in the tax code: income tax deductions, income tax credits, and exemptions. Tax deductions give us about a 40 cents to the dollar give back. Tax credits and tax exemptions give us up to 100% of that dollar back. We want to look for all 3 because that's better than getting 0 back, right? So what types of tax planning are there? Let's go to the next slide. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we're covering these all throughout the summer. If you remember last week, we covered federal income tax planning, where we talked about things like college savings, student loans, charitable deductions, children's credits, children's deductions, and many areas that have to do with the individual. And if you want a copy of that, at the end of the show, I'll tell you how you can get one. Today, we're going to be covering retirement income tax planning. As I said earlier, retirement has to do with reducing your tax liability, but in this case, it's reducing your tax liability while you're maximizing on your retirement savings, right? So you want to be able to do two at the same time. That's what we're going to talk about in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your pen. And next week, we go to the next slide. Next week, we'll be covering what I call estate tax planning. And the week after, next week, we're going to be talking about small business tax planning. So like I said earlier, press that subscribe button so you can catch us. But now we're going to talk about the benefits of retirement tax planning. So when we go to the next slide, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about three particular areas. Please grab your pen and you can have access to all these slides, and I'll tell you how to get them in a moment. First area, your 401k plan or your retirement plan at your job. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a very important area of both retirement and income tax savings. Please note, for every $1 contribution that you put into your retirement plan for savings, right, you lower your tax liability by your taxable equivalent. In most cases, middle-class America, especially here in the state of New York, they are in the 35 to 40% tax bracket, right? Hello, tax bracket, right? So that means that for every dollar that you put into your retirement plan, you're lowering your tax liability by 40 cents. Let me say it another way again. That means if you put away in your retirement plan up to $10,000 a year, you're lowering your tax liability by $4,000. Now, what does that mean as far as in your pocket? Well, you times it by the same amount, by the same 40%. So, to summarize, for every $10,000 in retirement contributions that you're putting away for retirement savings, if it was $10,000, you will lower your tax liability by $4,000. That would bring in your tax refund $1,600. So by contributing to your 401k, you're lowering your taxable income, which is lowering your tax liability, which is making your refund higher. And let me tell you how important that little trick is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's play it all the way through, right? That's your tax savings. You just got $1,600. But now you got $10,000 in your retirement plan, right? Let's say you've had it in there for the whole year, right? Well, where'd you put it, right? You just heard me talk about the financial markets, right? Even if you put it in that 10-year treasury, right? Let's say it's 3%. Okay, fine. You made 3% on the $10,000. What's that? I think that's 300. I think it's 300, right? Somebody help me. I'm getting ready to drink, right? So what does that mean? That means you made $300 on savings for your retirement, but you made an extra $1,600 in your tax refund, worth a total of $1,900, right? So 401k contributions should be very important to your scheme of both tax savings to get a higher refund as well as retirement savings. Second area, ladies and gentlemen, IRAs, individual retirement plans. Now, believe it or not, many people still use them. They're still very good instruments that you can't get at your job, but you can get at your local bank or financial institution. Just remember the following. There are two types, and they're a little tricky, but from a tax standpoint, I'm going to try to make it simple for you. There are two types. One is called traditional IRAs. Another one is called Roth IRAs. They bring different benefits. If you're contributing into a traditional IRA, then it is tax deductible. Once you take the money out of the traditional IRA, it is also taxable. Why? Because when you put money into a traditional IRA that's tax deductible, what you're doing is deferring the tax until the time of your retirement. Now, in theory, that could be a great thing because in theory, you're supposed to be in a lower tax bracket towards retirement. But this is where it's very important to have a good financial advisor because, again, you want to make sure you use the right IRA plan. So with traditional, when you put money in, it's tax deductible. But when you take the money out of retirement, you have to pay taxes on it. A Roth IRA works just the opposite. With a Roth IRA, if you put money in, it is not tax deductible. So why would you want to put money in? Because when you take the money out, it is triple tax free. Which one is better than the other? That depends on a variety of factors, ladies and gentlemen. I would strongly recommend if you have a tax advisor or a financial advisor, you give them a call because, in my opinion, it's based on a lot of factors, most notably your age and whether your filing status is joint or with children, and then your cash flow and other areas. Last area, Social Security, right? Oh my God, Social Security, right? You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm celebrating a birthday. Tomorrow is my birthday. I'm going to be 62 years old, or what I like to tell people, 31 twice, right? That means I am eligible for Social Security tomorrow. Oh my God, is my gray hair showing? So what does that mean to retirement planning and income taxes? Very important, ladies and gentlemen. You have to know that most of the time your Social Security is tax-free because Social Security rules presume that you need that amount for your retirement. But there are tax rules in regards to some of the money, even though I just said, in theory, it's supposed to be a tax-free distribution. Yeah, I know the government put a little bit of rules on it, which I think suck, but this is the rules in a nutshell. If you're a single person and you're still working while you're planning to get Social Security, but your taxable income is $25,000, well, congratulations on that. But now you're going to have to pay a portion of Social Security, or I should say a portion of the Social Security is now going to be subject to taxation. That would also apply if you're married. But if you're married, then you can take that income up to $32,000. These numbers do adjust with inflation on a yearly basis, but those are the guidelines where, of course, you can always get your Social Security, but based on your taxable income, if you're single at 25 or married at 32, a portion of your Social Securities may be taxable. And that portion goes up very significantly once you pass those general guidelines. So, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to retirement planning, as well as income tax savings, look at 401k contributions, see if you're maximizing on them and if that maximization is helping you. Number two, look at IRAs, individual retirement plans, again, at your bank and financial institution. And number three, especially if you're close to Social Security time like me, feel free to go to the website, ssa.gov, or give them a call at the 800 number and find out what your estimated Social Security is. Because if you haven't done your retirement plan yet, I would strongly suggest you start. If anybody needs any help or wants a copy of these slides, feel free to give me a call, 347-575-5045, or you can email me at letter A _ my last name, RIVIECCIO @yahoo.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer. This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely convince you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our final segment of Professor's Opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, as you might have heard in the last several weeks, we have inflation, right? Welcome to the $9 hamburger and french fries with the supposed free soda deal. So it's getting so bad, and it's finally coming to get to Joe Biden's attention, that Joe Biden and senior members of Congress decided to come up with a plan that, of course, Joe Biden put his name on. That name of the plan is called the Joe Biden Inflation Protection Plan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you some of the highlights of this plan. The first area is that he said he wanted to lower prescription drug costs through Medicare savings. Very possible. He also said he wanted to put a 3-year premium freeze on anyone that has health coverage through the Affordable Care Act, or as we know it as Obamacare. Good idea. He also said he wanted to lower energy costs. And he said he wanted to lower energy bills by providing income tax credits. I guess you could write it off. Sounds good. Then he said he wanted to establish in the tax code a $7,500 tax credit for electronic vehicles. Well, I don't drive, so it don't matter to me. I don't know about too many people buying electronic vehicles these days. I'm sorry, Elon Musk. But if you want one, well, you now have a proposed, I emphasize the word, proposed tax credit. And then we have a brand new tax, ladies and gentlemen. It's the brand new 15% minimum corporate tax rate. I believe Joe Biden copied it from when the global leaders met several months ago. They established what was called a 15% minimum corporate tax globally. So this is just sort of a semi-down of that. But it's a brand new tax, affects everybody in corporate America. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the highlights of the proposed plan that the House of Representatives has just passed, and our U.S. Senate will be looking at it shortly for an upcoming vote, according to Chuck Schumer, in the next week or two. What do I think? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I think right there. What you're looking at is a one-year chart of inflation. And what I'm looking at is skyrocketing prices on milk, on butter, on hot dogs, on coffee, on meat, on breakfast, on everything. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've been an economist for 31 years, but that don't make me smart. But I didn't hear about any of these things in the Joe Biden inflation plan. Did you? I don't know. I must have missed it in the highlights. I know he's got about a 500-page report I might have to read. But I believe that although good and warranted, I don't believe it's going to meet the mom and pop inflation problem. Joe Biden, you got a C for effort. You need to do better. Ladies and gentlemen, one last minute before we go for the evening. Please feel free, if you want to know the professor's thoughts on many economic things, please feel free to join me at Facebook in a Facebook group, Ask the Professor. Also, again, ladies and gentlemen, please press the subscribe button because we want you with us every week. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware, we want to provide you a space that you can provide your goods and services. So feel free to give us a call or me a call so we can promote and advertise your services and wares. We'd love to have you on the show. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions that you would like the professor to answer, feel free to email me at lettera_ my last name, RIVIECCIO @yahoo.com, or you can email our New York Parrot TV editorial staff, as I would love to answer any question from a financial perspective that you might have. Ladies and gentlemen, please be safe. We still have COVID. Be financially focused. Have a great weekend.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your product and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our news site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow.